Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're doing very well. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me on my channel. First of all, are we loving or are we hating this shirt? I am absolutely loving it. It is Van Gogh and I'm feeling very great in this shirt. So I just got a shower and I'm out here now. Obviously I'm not in the shower anymore. And I just want to give you this update because it is absolutely insane. So I'm filming this on my laptop. I'm still on the go. And thank you for being patient with that, but nothing, and I mean nothing, is gonna stop me from covering this content that Trisha and Ethan is devouring upon us. So, we talked about Trisha attacking Donna. If you don't know who Donna is Ethan Klein's mother. Trisha basically went on a rampage on social media after Donna responded to Ethan's tweet resharing Keemstar's picture with Trisha Paytas, was basically calling Trisha a weasel. I can't wait to go to the wedding, ... Not like, AB said it great. And it was like, from a mother's point of view, Donna went easy. Like, first of all, like, not every mother knows how to use social media. Not every mother can be, the nicest when it comes to their children being, like, affected in some way. I thought, particularly myself, Donna's messages weren't that bad. And so Trisha then went on a ruckus attacking Donna and said that the tweets had triggered them, and went on to say that furthermore, Donna is an evil bitch witch. And the reason for that is because Donna put this spell, put this curse, put this burden on Trisha, and Trisha has these text messages, and Donna is an evil bitch. And it's just funny imagining that with, like, as I say, like, Donna, Miss Butterfly. But anyway, Trisha was attacking that, never showed the text messages, Moses never shared them, Ethan never shared them, but Trisha said that they were so bad, in fact, that they just can't look at Donna again, and Donna is this evil person, and how dare Donna ever put a curse on them. Now, we were speculating on what we would, believe that was, because Trisha was saying that it's something that we should be taking into account without telling us it. I said that I believe that it has to do with if Trisha is causing stress in any way to Ela, who is currently pregnant. Other people thought different things. Again, that was just me speculating. So Trisha made TikToks about Donna, made a lot of posts, and then we have more tweets after that from when Trisha was just going haywire on Twitter, and then was like, I'm logging off. And then there was like a tweet like 5 seconds later. So let's just get to that because there's a lot to get to. So Trisha said, I'm biting my tongue. I'm holding it in the best that I can. Ethan ran my mom and sister off social media for literally one TikTok that she deleted instantly, and still has it up on his channel. His parents degrading me, insulting me still? Fine. Whatever. There was a pause in between that. There was a ... But the text that she sent Moses was something only the devil himself would cast upon someone. I'm livid, I'm angry, I've been carrying this evil, ugly burden she placed upon me, blaming me for this unspeakable thing. She is evil. I just have never encountered anyone to put such an evil burden on me. A curse, something to even write, unfathomable. So they were the tweets about Donna, and then we just go on. So Trisha said, Ethan, ... bullies and drives my sister off the internet for one TikTok that she instantly deleted. Also, Ethan gives his platform to his parents to shit on me and everyone. He is a hypocrite, and he cannot admit it. Ethan making fun of Crowder for having his dad as his booker. Also, not Ethan. Ethan having his mother and dad fight his battles. Now, this is just really weird because it's like Trisha taking it out of context. Like, Donna is not by any means fighting any battles here. She tweeted that, I can't wait to go to the wedding. Not. Like, that is easy, in my opinion, what a mother could write. It's not really fighting his battles either. Okay, here we go. Here's the gold one. I'm logging off. Do we think that Trisha logged off, y'all? I'm logging off. I don't care what anyone says or thinks anymore. I'm logging off. I don't care anymore. I went on a podcast, it's not even out, and everyone is losing their shit. Now, let me tell you, the podcast is out, and everyone's losing their shit even more, because it's even worse than people could have imagined. They talked about Ethan the entire time. It's not even out, and everyone's losing their shit. I defended Ethan on the podcast in many ways. This is a stretch. People are so quick to judge and send hate. They did a whole episode comparing me to my biggest trigger, Gabby Hanna, put us in the thumbnail and title and compared us together. But I talked to someone that he doesn't like. Let's send the hate mob my way. Ethan's fan base is so unbelievably toxic. It's actually scary. Like, for real. I'm not gonna be ran off the internet. I've been doing this 15 long years, long before any of these people. I'm my own person then and now. And a really good point that was brought up was that Frenemies gets like 5 million views, right? H3 get like 1 million, 2 million views. So regardless of anything, there's a lot of people who are just watching, right, for Trisha. Or maybe just watching because of Trisha and Ethan together. Like, you know, the comparison of them both, like their little personalities or whatever. So it just goes to show that, you know, Trisha needs to acknowledge that the people that are coming for them, the ones that are probably doing it the hardest, are people who were fans of Trisha, became fans of Trisha, and are now so disappointed. The H3 fans make fun but move on. From what I'm seeing, because I'm keeping up with these discords, and not just the H3 discord, like these drama discords that I've now found out exist, and they are so, so toxic, let me tell you. But I mean, they don't talk about Trisha every single day. I'm saying that overall drama discords are toxic, not necessarily the H3 one. But I mean, to each their own. I don't look that far enough to know everything. So then it goes on, Trisha's fanbase, toxic. You talk about me, I'm allowed to talk about you. That's how the internet works. Yes, your fanbase is louder and bigger and more powerful, but that does not scare me. I've been through this before with another cult, and I survived that. I'll survive this. It's all just giving me very much dramatic. You know what I mean? Like, it's very, like, well, you know, it really goes to show in the most respectful way that the way Trisha talks about a situation that we know most of the situation, like, let's be real, we know most of what's happened because Frenemies hasn't been edited, we've been shown all the text messages, we've been told everything behind the scenes. The way that Trisha talks about, like, Ethan and Eli and all like this in all of these ways goes to show that when Trisha, okay, I don't mean this in a bad way, but when Trisha's, like, attacking Jeffrey or attacking Shane or attacking Rylan, like, what power does that really hold anymore? What magnitude does that have? Because Trisha seems to be very vocal about the slightest thing. And keep in mind, we were covering them stories like, oh my god, Trisha's going after Shane so hard. No wonder. It seems pretty obvious that it's just and then 50 TikToks. Lord. Okay, so I do just want to bring up that point. So I've survived that cult and I'll survive this one. It's just giving me very much so over the top. And guess what? I'm going on more podcasts this week, including Dr. Dre, the ever most reliable. I'm allowed to talk about my life, my issues, my feelings, without getting approval from anyone. You know what it's called when you can't talk to someone because someone else doesn't like them? It's called a cult. Loving these tweets, Trish. It's just so interesting because all of these points that Trisha's bringing up about Ethan being like a little baby are issues that Trisha has brought up against other people. Shane on the podcast, Ryland on the podcast, Jeffrey on the podcast, Gabby on the podcast. But, you know, my god, like, Trisha's allowed to talk to them, right? Trisha's allowed to do all this. Trisha's allowed to feel upset. Trisha's allowed to, Ethan's not. And it's like, all right, like, you can pick sides in this, you can not pick sides, but it's like, it's all boiling down to we're seeing that there's inconsistencies where Trisha is doing or has done what they're saying, like, you know, you can't control what I do. You can't, and it's like, Trisha, you've done that to, like, Shane, Rylan, Jeffrey, whatever. So anyway, Trisha then goes on to tweet saying, I am literally shutting off my phone. Leave all the hate you want if that makes you feel better. Imagine sending a hate train to someone for going on a podcast that's not even out. Well, Trisha, let me tell you something. You tweeted these before. The hate train that's coming after the podcast is intense. Let me tell you, we're living it right now, and I'm seeing the tweets to you. Friendly reminder, me and Ethan met and I went on his podcast for the first time when he made a video trashing my looks, calling me a corpse, a WWE wrestler, called Tana a Twinkie and a whale, ... Why? Because I believe in discussion, debate, and trying to change people's minds. It's just very interesting because Trisha said, if you remember, that Ethan weaponized him being upset about Trisha making fun of him, that Ethan was weaponizing this. You know, he was weaponizing it. And now we're seeing, like, I'm reading these tweets, Trisha is doing the exact same thing, where Trisha is bringing up, this is how me and Ethan met. Ethan was making fun of me. Ethan was bullying me. And Trisha literally attacked Ethan when he made that sit-down video And he said that he was upset, you know, that Trisha would make fun of the Tourette's, and Trisha was like, I can't believe that you would bring that up because I thought that we had moved past that. Surely that still applies here, too. Surely this logic is... Maybe not. All right. I went on Gabby's podcast. I know Trisha's so happy she went on Gabby's podcast because she has been using that argument all the time. I went on Gabby's. I went on anyone's. I went on Gabby's podcast trying to end beef with her. Try and have her see where I was coming from with why I had an issue with her. Did it work? No. Did I try? Yes. It's what I do. It's what I continue to do. And I encourage everyone to have discussions with each other. It's like, all right, can Jeffrey have a discussion with Ryland? Because we made 10 videos on that fucking couple months ago about you attacking, feeling so betrayed and upset. And you went on Frenemies saying that they should have just not aired the podcast. Who said that? You, not us. All right, but y'all, discussions. Shane, Ryland, Jeffrey were not having a discussion. They were having an anti-Trisha conversation. That must have been what it is. It's what I do, what I continue to do, and I'll encourage everyone to do the exact same thing. Have discussions with each other, especially ones you oppose. You might learn something, you might not, but at least shows maturity and willingness to grow, or shows that you're trolling and relying on, you know, you and Keemstar being together, getting a lot of attention, which didn't work in a great way whatsoever. All right. So, going through the rest of these tweets, it's very much so a back and forth. Trisha, as we can see right here, in a very weird move, is going on Dr. Drew to talk about Lord knows what, but Dr. Drew is someone who, okay, I don't even know what you're thinking, but on Frenemies, they had Dr. Drew on, was it twice or maybe once or something like that? The Dr. Drew episodes, okay, if we're taking the context of Trisha going on, were the worst episodes ever because it was almost like Dr. Drew was so scared of upsetting or triggering Trisha that he was willing to just agree to everything Trisha said and go against Ethan in every way, because I don't know if you remembered, he wouldn't let Ethan talk. He would make fun of Ethan all the time, and he would just agree with Trisha. And I'm pretty sure they addressed it in like a follow-up Frenemies where they were like, oh, everyone's, you know, talking about how Dr. Drew was completely against me and so up Trisha's ass or whatever. And that was the case. So, I mean, the Dr. Drew and Trisha Paytas will be so phenomenal. I assume they're going to have a great conversation. You know what I mean? So that was where I'm at with that. But in terms of this overall thing about Trisha still tweeting this out, we've now made several videos on this. We've now watched several videos on this. We've now read several tweets on this. The full shebang. The same arguments are being brought up. And I believe that the same arguments are being brought up because there's no real argument there. I may be wrong. But why does Trisha always feel the need to bring up that they went on Gabby's podcast, that Ethan was the one who made fun of them first, and that the podcast isn't even out? There are 3 points that have been brought up literally in every single one of these videos that we've done, whether it's Trisha on any cross-platform. So that to me just goes to show that there's no real argument, but maybe Trisha genuinely believes that they're in the right, and they have, like, you know, these little arguments where they can, like, think about it themselves, and they're like, no, this, and they're bad arguments, but it, like, Trisha's rationalizing them as being great arguments. I don't know. I'm trying to understand it. I honestly just believe that it's Trisha so far in this bullshit anymore. I think Trisha went on Keemstar's podcast because it was going to get a lot of attention. I didn't think Trisha thought it was going to get this amount of attention, nor this amount of bad attention. I think Trisha thought that people wouldn't have cared as much as they did. However, I don't think that they would have, but in the wake of H3 getting suspended, it's not the best week to go on, and Keemstar knows that as well, and I'm sure that they talked about that, and Trisha is now talking about how them and Keemstar are talking on text all the time, so it's like Trisha's ruining their only real arguments against being, like, unbiased, biased, whatever you want to, like, take in this, you know, I'm just neutral, I just do this to troll, I'm just doing this for my job, I'm not really anyone's friend. Like, those lines get a bit more fuzzy, faded, whenever we're now being told, you know, me and Keemstar text, and we're saying, like, isn't this so ridiculous? And then all of these tweets against Ethan's mom and Gary and all like this, and it's like, I genuinely want to know whether Trisha thinks they're in the right. I'm gonna ask you that. Do you think Trisha thinks that they're in the right? Or do you think that Trisha is trolling, or so far in this right now that it's just kind of like, go ahead, like Trisha knows that eventually it'll work? You know, every controversy, if you go hard enough, eventually people get tired, or people will look back and be like, it wasn't as bad as it was, or people will just, like, you know, get bored of talking about it and move on. With Trisha, it never seems to happen. So it just seems really weird to me that we're still in this. So I want to know what your opinion is and what Trisha genuinely must think the reaction has been, what it was going to be, and what it's going to be moving forward. Because there's no way that Trisha didn't think that they were going to get criticism. And it's surprising to me because Trisha did this at what cost? Because Trisha was finally starting to get a more neutral response to uploading videos again and tweets again. You know, they weren't getting dislike bombed and they weren't getting, mass hate on Twitter. And then this Keemstar thing has just warranted it even stronger because people do feel passionately about Hila's pregnancy and, feeling connected with the H3 family and Trisha being brought in that, then Trisha doing it, and people being against Moses and, other hypocrisies. And it's very messy regardless. I want to know what your opinion is. We can talk about it below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and bye. I'm sure there'll be many more to come. So, bye.